One kind of stumbling block that I see in people learning their freestanding handstand is they don't actually train their kick. They go straight from, and even now it's better because they're learning balance on the wall and they go straight for freestanding, but they don't incorporate the actual technique of the kick. So the freestanding handstand, it's a combination of a number of different things. You have the inversion, the arm support, the alignment, the balance, and then the entry to the handstand is also part of the handstand. And to really understand all of this combined, you have to work separate pieces. And I find that people just don't work the kick separately. And there are a lot of details. So this is the way that I teach the kick for balancing a handstand. The kick used for momentum, for tumbling, is very different. So just keep that in mind. Also, one of the reasons I do it in this specific way is because it leads better into press handstand. And also I used to train in a very small space and I would kick things a lot, so I have to make the movements more compact. But I find it works really well for building control and just to help people catch their handstand easier, because eventually, if it takes you more than one try to get into your handstand, you still have work to do. So let's go into the technique. Alright, so first off, a lot of people like to do this, right? And then also a lot of people like to do this. They go back to go forward. So because it's unnecessary, we start already with the hands on the floor and already with weight in the hands. Just doing this already takes out potential variables, and it's now going to set you up better for press handstand. Second mistake that people make a lot is they try to put all this power into it. They try to kick so hard and then they fall over. Remember, we're trying to only kick to a specific place. So the way that I like to think about this kick to handstand is it's very gentle. It's like I'm rolling a ball to a specific place, and I want to only give it enough momentum so that it stops where I want it to stop. And then one other really important point when you're training the kick is you don't need to do a handstand every time. You don't need to balance your handstand every time you kick into it. The point of this video is to work the kick without trying to balance the handstand, so your kick is precise enough to get you where you need to go without having to do all these extra corrections. So right, the two analogies that I like, one is the rolling ball or curling, hurling. Not the Irish paddle game, but the Swedish ice curling, whichever one. Basically, you give the leg just enough momentum to stop you in the handstand. And same thing with driving. If I'm driving and I see a red light, I can try to put the car in neutral and I coast up to that red light. And if I did it correctly, I didn't even have to use the brake. So the movement's gonna look like this. We already have weight in the hands. One leg kicks, second leg jumps, and switch. And in the beginning, it might look like this. I might stay low. But the point is to keep the weight in the arms and to get more airtime. So almost think about like the longer airtime you have, it's like you're turning off the gravity more. So this is Earth gravity, pretty useless. And then we go to Mars. And then we go to the moon. But the idea is that I'm kicking the leg with just enough power to get me up. And it's not only that I do this once, it's that I know precisely how much to give the leg, that I can do it consistently. That if I do 10 of these movements in a row, they all look very similar, and even though I didn't try to do a handstand a single one of them, I didn't do any corrections with the hands, no balancing, I could have stayed during each one. So it's this idea of marksmanship and accuracy. And the good thing about this movement in particular is that it's very easy to give yourself feedback. So even if you don't have a coach, you don't have a video, really simple. If I don't kick enough with the leg, I fall back down. Yeah? So that's a signal that, okay, I need to kick more. I need to get that leg further. If I kick too much, too fast, too hard, I fall over, and then I know that I need to kick less. So this way I can calibrate how much I need to kick. But again, this goal and another analogy, it's a lot of analogies today, is the idea of marksmanship. It's not about hitting it once, it's about repeatedly getting to your target consciously. So my intention is to get to the handstand. Whoa, I can get to the handstand. so that I don't have to try more than once to hit that position. So without getting too deep into technique, one other kind of detail that's important in this particular technique is that because we're starting with the shoulders somewhere here, there is actually a little bit of movement with the shoulders up and down, right? So if I don't move the shoulders at all, it'll look something like this, yeah? So what I have to do is that as the hips rise, I have to also move the shoulders at the same time as the hips. So again, I can use that momentum to stop precisely in the handstand. So watch what my shoulders are doing this next round. So, it's a bit exaggerated so you can see it better, but that's kind of another detail with this particular kick to handstand variation. And again, it's not the only way, but it's this idea that if you actually want to get consistent with a freestanding handstand, you will have to work your kick separately from the handstand before combining them. And then once you understand the kick, you just add the fingers, you add the grip, you add the balance that hopefully you developed on the wall, and then it's much easier to combine it when you actually spend time working the kick to handstand. And then eventually you learn how to calibrate so that if I kick too short, I can make those adjustments and I can still catch it. But I don't want to do that right away. So right now, again, just recap, basic, you can do one leg. I prefer the scissor legs because you work both sides. But just see if you can get 10 times, 20 times, and be able to get the hips and the shoulders precisely aligned every time without having to put too much thought into it. So, and then when you develop consistency, that's when you really understand the handstand. So again, let me know what else you want to see. Let me know if you find this video useful. Trying to put up more YouTube content whenever I can, so I'll put up another video whenever I film one.